Hello and welcome to All About Billings. We are a show dedicated to discovering the people that make Billings a great place to work and live. We will interview local business people, community leaders, entrepreneurs, entertainers, artists, and we will learn from their successes, their failures, and their connection to Billings. I'm your host, Nancy Brook, broker and owner at Billings Best Real Estate. And today it is my pleasure to have as my guests Sandra Gebhardt. I want to make sure I'm saying it right.
Yep, you got it.
Sandra is owner of a marketing company, Sandra Gebhardt Marketing, and she's also a professional speaker, a mom, a wife, and she's just a very interesting, unique person. So I'm excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. This is fun.
Well, so just to start off, you grew up in the area, you grew up in Shepherd. Mm-hmm. Tell us what it was like to grow up here.
I loved growing up in Shepherd. You're kind of like in the country, right, so to speak. It's gotten a lot bigger over the years. I graduated in '99 in the 1900s.
In the 1900s.
But we still roll with the save the best for last. So a little bit of a pride tag there. But it was great to be able to, go out and, I was going to say have bonfires, but I think we all knew what we were doing. But at the same time, be 8 miles away from town. It was a really magical childhood in that sense of the country, but being close to town. I use the word town loosely because, as you travel around, you start seeing bigger cities. But
right.
Billings is just so cool. I love that you can go to the opera one night and you can go line dancing another night. Like, it just has a little bit of everything.
Well, and there's still a lot of country, even though Billings has grown quite a bit, or the Billings area has grown quite a bit. Like Shepherd, there's still a lot of very rural places.
Yes, yeah. So it's just the best of both worlds, to be able to get a drive-through and be out in the mountain at the same time.
Now, you and I were having a really interesting conversation before the show began and talking all about your marketing company. And so talk to us a little bit about what you do and basically who you help.
Okay, I love working with small business owners, with 1-2-man shops or businesses that are kind of in that scaling mode where they're trying to hit that next level, that next goal that they have. I have a really unique way in the way that I do marketing. Everything I do is stuff that I've done. So sometimes people look me up and they'll be like, we only have 6,000 followers on Facebook, and you don't really have a TikTok, and you don't have a YouTube. And my mission is to break that content creation bubble that people think they have to be in. So the business owners that are my ideal clients are the ones that maybe they're doing the marketing right now and they're just getting the budget to where they can bring somebody else on. Well, when you get into content creation where you've got cameras and you've got mics and you've got to come up with scripted plans and all of that stuff, that can be a little bit more expensive, right? And because it's a lot of work. It's editing, it's coming up with storyboards, all of that kind of stuff. But those smaller business owners and even the ones that are in that next scale can do a lot with just social media, especially in our area. Facebook is a very big used tool here in our community. We're not a big Twitter or X community or things like that. We don't have a bunch of big digital billboards, and Facebook really acts like a digital billboard every single day. It's very active. I have a local business that I do work with here, and that's a big part of our marketing, and we do really, really well because you're not trying to reach millions of people, you're trying to reach 100,000 people plus, and there's so much cool stuff that you can do using Facebook and LinkedIn and their native tools without having to overload yourself, right? Like, marketing is it's a big word, marketing and branding and all of that stuff, advertising. So I really like to focus in on the tools that you have to create a small, loyal following that will follow you anywhere, that will always drive to your business, that will always call you first. And you're able to do that in the same way that we used to have to go to every networking event, right? Every morning meeting, every silent auction, you had to be physically seen everywhere. Now you can create a digital omnipresence that always keeps you top of mind for a very affordable rate.
The thing that I've been most surprised with Facebook in particular is, like, I post something, I just recently had a post, I'm looking for these particular type of homes for buyers. that I have. And I've had people like pick up the phone and call me. And it's so surprising because you think, well, I don't know who's really going to see this post, but you can end up just connecting with so many variety of people. Same thing with guests for the show. I put a little notice in a community bulletin board, and the next thing I know, I have a dozen people contacting me with really neat stories like yours that I wouldn't have received otherwise. So I think you're really onto something. You don't want to underestimate the power of this platform because we don't look at the newspaper anymore. I'm sorry, Billings Gazette, but we just don't. We don't watch the news as we used to 20 years ago. We don't do those kinds of things. And so this is sort of the new community center.
100%. And my favorite thing about it is I don't want to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go and have coffee. Some of those meetings, like your BNI, your Million Cups, those things that are local here in town, they're incredible for people that like to get up at 7. Some of us don't. I would rather go have coffee at 10 p.m. with somebody. I'm a night owl. But what's great about it is if you don't have the capacity to attend all of those things all the time, you have the ability to, I liken Facebook specifically. So when I say Facebook, I want you to think your personal Facebook profile, not your business page. That's a whole different monster, but your personal Facebook profile. The first thing I have people do is write down, say out loud, tattoo on your forehead, I don't care. Facebook is for making money. It is not to keep up with Jessica, who you didn't really like in high school, but you're kind of hoping that, she doesn't bother you, and but we're kind of looky-loos too, right? Like that's what a lot of people use Facebook for,
right,
like, just to see what is Jessica up to, right? But
That's
if you
funny.
really change that mindset into Facebook is for making money, and you look at it like I can add 5,000 people to a virtual networking situation. So who are the 5,000 people I want to put in this room? I can say whatever I want to them every single day. And my favorite thing about Facebook specifically is, remember in the 90s when we were like, talk to the hand because the face ain't listening? And then they would still talk. It didn't actually work. Well, now you got the block button and you're like, talk to the block button, you're gone. You're just gone. And people really worry about, well, what if somebody says something negative? Block them. Talk to the hand, talk to the block button because the face ain't listening, right? It's so easy. I'm actually over eager in blocking people, especially if they make me feel kind of uncomfortable. Somebody might come onto my profile and say something about my son, and I don't even take time to think about it. I'll just block it. If it makes me feel uncomfortable, I'll block it. And I have had a couple people reach out like on LinkedIn and they're like, why'd you block me? And I'm like, oh, it just felt weird at the time. So it turns out it was a real person, not a bot or things like that. So having that ability to control the narrative in your page and what you're allowing in to your page, a lot of people are like, Facebook's negative. Okay, we'll take the negative people off. This is your networking room. So you can take this room and you can add 5,000 people. If you have a bunch of negative people in the corner snickering at everything you post, ask them to leave your room. And as you go through, I say every single day you should add 5 people into that room. And then you take and you interact with another 5 people. So when we're in a networking situation, we tend to get into groups of 3 or 4 people, right? We're kind of bouncing around what's going on. The Festival of Trees was awesome, right? And the different small talk things that we do. That's an interaction on Facebook. That's where you're going to somebody's profile and they posted that they need people to come in for interviews. Okay, here's some people I know, and you're interacting with that post that they made. And then the last thing I coach on is 5 direct messages. And people are always like, oh, I want to send a direct message, right? It feels impersonal. It feels, we have all these negative connotations with direct messages. But I liken that back to Jessica because she's like, hey girl, hey, how you been? And you're like, oh man, like I'm fixing to buy some lipstick from Jessica that was mean to me in high school, right? Because a lot of people use it just for cold sales.
Right. And then it can seem very inauthentic.
Yes.
If somebody just says, oh, hi, I just wondered if you'd check out my page. Do you need any lipstick? I mean, it's like,
do you want to sell your house? I was like, I'm in a red light checking my Facebook. No, I don't want to make that major decision right now. So I always tell people to think of those direct messages like that one-on-one conversation at a networking event.
Sure.
Right? When you pull off from the group of the 3 and now we're talking about our kids or we're asking questions or, does my jacket look cute? Whatever that is. And a great way to initiate those are birthdays and when people ask questions, right? So you asked a question for interviews. I actually went directly to your direct message, right? So it's just getting that one-on-one communication. It's not just trying to direct pitch people. And taking those 3 steps of the 5x5x5, I wrote a book on it. Like, this is something that I've done for years. It's how I've created omnipresence that has resulted in me having a TEDx talk, national keynote speakers.
Sure.
I run my marketing company out of Roundup, Montana. So, I've got clients all over the country. Looking to make more of a push here in Billings now locally, which we had talked about. But you're able to create that omnipresence and make yourself a celebrity in whatever capacity you want, whether it's across Billings, whether it's across the state, whether it's across the country. I've been on podcasts in Africa. The world is completely open to us now. And all we have to do is get on our cell phone and do these 3 things and then post about our day, but we overthink it.
So how does that translate to business? So, like, for example, you connect with somebody, let's say it's your birthday, and I say, hey, just wanted to stop by and wish you a happy birthday. Do you have any exciting plans for today? Maybe I start a conversation. Okay, so we chat. How does that lead to making money?
So it's the same as the networking, right? So it's getting that person into your sphere of influence. So people, once they get into our sphere of influence, they're either a cheerleader for us. I always mention my Aunt Janet. My Aunt Janet is my biggest cheerleader. There is not a post that goes by that she does not like, comment on, sometimes shares them, right? So we have our cheerleaders. So the people that, maybe I don't need your services right now, but I've built know, like, and trust with you. So I'm always looking out for you. Right? Or encouraging you. And then we have our other business or our referral partners. And it's so easy to create for referral partners right now, right? So we have people that are watching us put out stuff. We're getting to know each other. And then maybe we can move that into a referral relationship, excuse me, all the way around. And then we have people that are just looky-loos that never, they never really feel a connection to us. But people love to solve problems, right? We can't have that open loop in our brain. We have to close that brain. So that's one of the reasons why people fight online so much is because they're seeing a problem and they want to give their 2 cents.
Sure.
And they actually, sometimes people feel like they're trying to help, right? Like, I'm trying to give you this other perspective. If you walked into a room and you said, I need a glass of water, how many people in that room would be like, here's the water, call the producer, right? And people just start problem solving for you. So we have the people that get in there and they might not ever say anything. You might not even know you're connected to them. But then you post something like, I'm looking for this specific 3-bedroom house in Shepherd. All of a sudden they're sending you a direct message or calling you and saying, hey, actually, no, Bob's selling a house. So it's that omnipresence is always churning. And it's as long as you stay on the top of the omnipresent, the people, whether they're liking your post or commenting on it or whatever, you're in their mind. You're top of mind with them.
Mm-hmm. It really is unique because never before have we been able to have that kind of a connection other than, like you're saying, if we went to networking events, if we maybe went to the workplace and got to know a bunch of people or had people over to her house, those kinds of things, or one-on-one, like you mentioned, a coffee date. And now you can basically just connect with so many people at once.
Yep. And just simply letting them know what you're doing on the day-to-day. One of my favorite comments I get from people often is, people always post about their coffee, and I don't care about their coffee. And they're usually revved up about it, right? They're like, I don't want to see any more of those posts. And I'm like, well, I feel like you're really having a reaction to people's coffee, right? Like it's ruining your day. You're bringing it up right now at a conference, right? Or on a one-on-one call. So you're having a reaction to it. It's just bothering you for some reason. So you got to figure out what that is. But even posting things like your coffee, your dinners, things like that, it says so much. To both the person reading it. I don't know why some people get so triggered by that. Maybe they feel like people should be more creative, whatever that looks like. But on the other side, if I stop at Classy and Sassy and I post a picture with my morning coffee saying I'm on the way to do an interview with you, I'm letting people know what's going on in my day. I have enough disposable income to buy a $5 coffee, right? I support local businesses. I'm up and got my face on, as my granny used to say, and all of these different things. So it's not so much I'm just posting a cup of coffee,
Right.
right? It's you're telling a story and you're bringing people into your day. So all of that stuff matters, and we do have to put on our marketing hat and think about what is this message I'm sending out, because you as an individual are a personal brand, whether you want to be or not. It's just a matter of if you're in control of it or not. And that's a lot of what I do with my one-on-one clients, is really helping them figure out what is their a bit too much, what is their brand.
Well, and what you say is really interesting, because I know some of my most, I guess people have responded most to posts like, I remember once I was cooking something. It wasn't even, it was just like a random thing, and I set a video up. I don't know why. I think I was doing a video challenge, wanted a video a day of whatever. And so I did, I don't remember what I was cooking, but and all these people were watching it live and commenting after, and oh, that looks delicious. Can I have the recipe? And I'm like, that's really weird.
Yes. And recipes and food is a great thing, right? Realtors from days of yore have been sharing recipes, right? Because if somebody makes that recipe, now you've got their other senses wrapped into your branding and your advertising, right?
That's
and they're
really
remembering you. They put that connection in there. That's why you can never make cookies as good as your grandma did. Or when the Lion King, remember when the second Lion King came out and we're all like, oh, that was kind of lame. Well, the first Lion King was such a big deal. And it was such a core memory for the majority of the world that they had no chance to recreate that for us. So it's figuring out those moments, and your audience will tell you 100% of the time what they want to see. So you go through and you watch, what do people want? How do people want to interact with your brand? So we're looking at what we tend to call engagement posts. So I'll put something out and I'll see how are people engaging with this, and then I'll hold off and I'll do other posts, and then I'll post something that I know people are going to engage with. This time of year, every year I do, anybody can steal this, I do last comment wins $100. And it's a fun thing I do around Christmas every year. Usually it's about 900 comments, and people come through and they start commenting, and then when it kind of slows down, I'll say, this person's the winner, and I'll send them a $100 gift card to, if they want coffee or whatever. And it's just fun. My audience also does really well with asking a question. I've got a Christmas cookie party exchange coming up. I need a recipe for that. They love to drop recipes. If you're looking at an outfit, I do a lot with my Nikes, right? So should I wear these on stage today or these? And they'll pick. So people like those really low brain calorie burning questions. But some people's audience like to really challenge, because they're a challenging brand. They challenge people back. So it's finding what is that unique voice, and then paying attention to how your audience interacts. The same way as if you came into a networking situation and you were talking about Christmas, and it turns out that this networking event is an anti-Christmas event, right? You change your tone based on the room.
Sure, that makes sense. That makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about a bit too much. You mentioned it just a minute ago, kind of in passing. So a bit too much, what is that?
That was my TEDx talk that I did here at Billings TEDx. They are amazing. And it's something that I've struggled with through my whole life, of trying to fit into the box. And I just don't fit into the box.
Do any of us?
Right? No, we really don't. And that's what I discovered through, once I started my marketing agency and started working with different coaches and stuff, I realized that, yeah, I'm a little loud. Yes, I'm an extremely creative thinker, and I don't do things the regular way. That's a bit too much. Our family photos this year, our photographer was like, let's go down into the foliage. And I'm like, I can't be another family standing in a field. They're beautiful. Everybody looks beautiful. But for me, I just can't do it. So we went the complete opposite, went to an old building, and they came out really great. But for me, I never feel comfortable if I'm following the trends. So in looking at the a bit too much in the TEDx talk that I did, I always start out asking people, who here's been told they're too loud? Who's been told they're too quiet? Who's been told they're too heavy? Who's been told they're too thin? And you can watch the hands go up.
Everybody,
Yeah,
right? We're too
everybody's
much
been
of
told
something. Yes.
And what I found is that's actually what your sparkle is. That is what your unique market position is. That's what your unique voice is. And if you can embrace that and hone it in, and now it's not a license to have a chip on your shoulder and be like, I'm just a bit too much, you know. We still, it's the talents that you were given that people have should all over your whole life, right? And if you can embrace that, then you really start to find your own unique voice. And I was trying really hard when I started my marketing company of, you know, oh, I need to do content creation and I was doing the same thing. I have to do this, 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 and this if I want to be a real marketing company. And then I'm like, my coach one day was like, what's a real marketing company? And I'm like, I don't know, like on TV, or what Sally's doing, or Jessica, there she is again, right? But once I realized that I can coach the sort of people that I want to coach, I can work with the businesses I want to work with, and I can do it. For me, a budget's a really big deal. I don't charge thousands and thousands of dollars. I want to work with people that are trying to grow, and I like doing it in a creative way. So that's where I get my brain energy filled up, and then being able to help other businesses. So once you embrace whatever, some people are been told they're too quiet, and they're kind of a port in the storm for people, and that's a big power. I've never had it. I'm overwhelming sometimes, right? So whatever that is for you, embrace that and stop trying to put yourself in the box that people say we need to be in, and you are going to find people just flock to you, and people feel comfortable around you. And those are the clients you want to work with, whether you're a bank teller or you're running a small business. You want to attract the people that want to be around you.
I think you're onto something, though, with how people can feel like they do need to conform and fit into this societal expectation of how it is we should be. And so even things like social media, you tend to be a little maybe too polished and come across as maybe you've got it all together, but it just isn't attractive to people. It's like, oh, okay, you're kind of off by yourself a little bit when you do that. And I think a lot of people are afraid to be more vulnerable. I'm not saying, you know, talk about your bad day and, you know, you just broke up with your boyfriend or whatever.
I would
You know,
say
we don't need all that.
You got to hide your crazy.
Yeah.
You got to hide your crazy a little.
But you do need to you need to show your personality and who you are. And so I think you're really onto something.
Yep. And it's finding those rules for yourself. So for me, there's only one spot in my house that I ever do live videos from, and I rarely ever share pictures of the inside of my home. I don't want the world in my home. I wouldn't host a networking event in my home. So for me, that's one of my non-negotiables. As my son gets older, I post less about him. That's my own non-negotiable. But outside of that, you know, I never post. I don't encourage anybody to post. If you're typing like this, you know, because you just saw something on the news or somebody triggered you, if you're typing aggressively, maybe we don't post that, right? Because again, embracing your unique voice isn't a license to do whatever you want. It's finding out what you want to share with the world. So you really have to sit down and look at that. If I was in a networking event and people ask me questions, how do I answer them? But if you're always, like you're saying, if you're always giving the perfect view, well, now you're walking into a networking event and you're like, hair done, ball gown on, and you're like, oh, hello, peasants, right? Like, oh, you had a rough drive today. My drive was wonderful.
I had
right?
my chauffeur drop me off.
Exactly. So that's what you're giving out, and that's not who any of us are. So really going through and sharing your hobbies and the things. Really what you want to think about is, what do I small talk about? We all have what we share in a small talk situation, and then we have things that are off limits. So that's the same way that you can go into your social media.
Well, it's funny you say that too, because another thing, I don't post it a lot because I think people would get bored, but I do powerlifting, and so every once in a while I'll post some videos of some lifts I do. And I get like random people that haven't interacted with me in a while commenting on it, and that also surprises me. It's like,
Yep.
I
Well, 'cause
don't
it's
know why
interesting.
people, you know what I mean, enjoy it.
Yep. Well, because they're building that know, like, and
Yeah,
trust.
yeah,
So when you have something that's really interesting or fun that you do, share it.
yeah.
Because here's the deal, people aren't going to get bored. We have, oh, you want to guess? You want to do a pop quiz?
Okay.
How long do you think you have to capture somebody's attention online, to stop their scroll?
3 seconds.
1/4 of a second.
Oh my gosh.
So think about, like, really think about when you're scrolling through social
Right.
media and you see something, you normally scroll back down,
It's true.
right? Because you're like, what was that? And a image just popped into my head from one that happened to me this morning. 1/4 of a second to capture somebody's attention. So you could post your powerlifting 10 times. Odds are only a few people are going to see it sporadically. So we can feel like we're really saying a message over and over and over again.
That's a good
and
point.
it does not get, nobody's going to get bored with it because they're not all seeing it all the time. Now, what we do tend to see is where people will actually go in and comment, enough already, or something like that. It's if you're always asking for business over and over and over again, right? If
Right.
you're asking, if you're
Right.
taking, people can feel that, right? They can feel, why is she always trying to take from me, trying to get me to do stuff for
and just
her?
imagine if you were at some kind of networking event, and if all you did was come up to people and said, "Hi, are you looking to sell a house?" Or, "Hi, do you want to buy my lipstick?" I mean,
Yes.
people would just shun you.
Exactly.
They wouldn't want to even interact with you, and it's the
Yep.
same online.
Yep. And the other one that pops up is the negativity. So, right? So if you're walking in, if you're always posting, you know, oh, the economy's going to hell, milk's expensive, whatever, over and over and over again, people are going to pick up on that negativity and they're going to have that same reaction. Just as same as if you did it. So you're really getting this network. It's just literally networking
Right.
online for free.
Well, and the other thing, I think, in a way, it's like stay in your lane a little bit. So, like, for example, I know a lot of people went crazy during the political season. Everybody has a right to their opinion, and if you want to express it on your page, I guess that's your business. But if you're a business person, unless your job is being a politician, I don't know how helpful that is.
So what I say when it comes to that is you need to be 100% ride or die, for lack of a better term, in whatever you're posting about.
Right.
So for me, I think a great example is I'm a Christian. You know, I wear my cross, so sometimes I'll post about you know, Bible verses or prayers for friends or things like that. I am 100% in that box.
Right.
Right. So if I lost 100% of my followers, I would be 100% okay with that.
Right.
So that's what you want to look at. I am not into politics. It's not something I follow. It's not something that I have opinions I would walk into a room and share. So I'm not in that box. So if I did post something and 100% of my audience left me, or even 50%,
Right.
I would be like, that I probably shouldn't have posted that. So it's really knowing what you're okay with. So it's your core beliefs. And there is some, you know, our grandparents, no religion, no politics and stuff at the dinner table. There's a lot of that still true as well. But you have to be 100% with being okay if 100% of your people leave.
Oh, that's really
And that's
wise.
a way, I think the My Pillow guy is a great cautionary tale on that.
For
right?
sure, for sure.
Where you really can, we knew he was disingenuous when he started doing and saying what he was saying.
Right.
So people left. Now, I've seen some people in Billings that are small business owners that shared a lot of political beliefs, got some flack for it, but then stood up and said, no, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to say, and this is important to me.
Sure.
People respect that.
Sure. Well, and I can't believe it, but our time is up. How can people find you?
SandraGebhardt.com is my website. They can also find me on Facebook.
Okay, great.
Different social medias. But yeah, SandraGebhardt.com's got all my contact info.
All right, and folks, it's been wonderful having you here today. We hope to see you next time on All About Billings.